name is Sarah Campbell, and I'm the Executive Director of Arcade Street Mission and the project lead for the WISH Coalition, the Winter Interim Solution to Homelessness pop-up shelters. I'm really pleased to be part of the ARC community. I'm a new Executive Director here, starting this past May. In my career, I've been coming to this work from a social work perspective, and I've worked in all sorts of sectors, from child protection to employment to women's issues. Most recently, I was at London Middlesex Community Housing, and so I know very intimately the importance of shelter and housing to building a strong foundation for life, but also for community. And here at the Arcade Street Mission, one of our values is around building community and places for people to belong.
Everybody wants to belong,
yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter where you belong, but everybody wants to belong somewhere in life.
Yeah.
And I've always had an issue with, where do I belong, especially being adopted, never fitting in place.
What's been amazing is working with multiple organizations who all saw an incredible need for more sheltering, more space for the homeless this winter during COVID, where space was difficult to find. And through relationships, trust, a desire to see people survive this winter.
Trust is a big, big thing, and when you have lost it with people who are supposed to be protecting you, you kind of get into a shell. And so I went and stayed in barns. I've stayed in stairwells, friends' garages.
People think that homeless people are worthless, more like scum of the earth.
The greater good of our community, over 18 organizations came around the table and said, we can do better, we can do something more this winter. With the support of the City of London, we were able to open 2 pop-up shelters that are sheltering 60 of London's most difficult to house homeless folks. And I say most difficult to house not because they're hard people, but because their lives have been very difficult. People don't become homeless in a vacuum. It comes from somewhere. And it comes from a childhood of trauma. It comes from pains and mental health and physical health and emotional health issues.
I had some instances of trouble with adults when I finally ended up on the streets about the age of 13. Won't get totally into what it was, but it wasn't great anyways. Ended up with mental health and addiction issues, of course, being on the streets.
Ousted from my family, and my mom kicked me out, and I ended up homeless.
Every individual has a different story.
Yeah.
Nobody has one, we're all drug addicts and we're homeless because of that.
Yeah.
Or we've all had bad home lives and that's why we're homeless. Everybody's got a different story, and I'm a very strong believer that mental health and addictions go hand in hand.
The streets will just eat you alive, whether you want them to or not.
We have to look at our neighbors and our friends, the people around us, through the eyes that see hope. And hope is sometimes in the shape of housing.
It's very important that those people are not forgotten. They live under the bridges, they live in cardboard boxes, they're down by the river in tents, in sleeping bags.
For the Winter Interim Solution, it's less about programming in terms of addressing those issues directly. We're addressing them indirectly. So what we're finding is that we're stabilizing people by letting them be indoors. Just that process of not being up all night, to stay warm or alive, is allowing people to stabilize. We have the health bus from the London Inter-Community Health Centre and other partners coming on site every week. So people who have not had medical care for a long time are getting care for the first time on a regular weekly basis. And so this is helping to address some of those addiction issues, health issues, mental health issues that have been plaguing folks. And the longer they stay with us, we're seeing improvement. Not by program, but by choice, because people can make those choices when they're stably sheltered. And this is why I say hope is housing shape.
I could only wish that there had been an organization like this when I was younger and living on the streets. somebody who would have been able to point me in the right direction, whether it had been to a youth shelter organization at that time, whether it could have been with food or clothing, stuff like that.
Because the stigma has to change. For the most part, there's people that need the help, that don't know where to get it, that are confused, afraid, because I was all those feelings myself.
First, I want to say a big thank you to the City of London and to all Londoners who have been supporting this effort. You know, it has taken a village, a bunch of us, to, one, put the pressure on the system to do this effort, and then two, to make sure people have their comfort items and the care. Our community has stepped up in big ways to make sure that people have donated clothing, bedding, comfort items throughout the project. So a big thank you. And then the second thing is to say, together we can do better. Housing is a human right, and we need to keep pushing towards ensuring that there is home and support for every Londoner. Thank you.
My name is Aidan. I'm 69 years old. I am a retired seamstress. In 1992, I relocated from Hong Kong to Montreal, Canada, and lived in Toronto for 4 years. I returned to Hong Kong and came back to Canada again in 2010 in London, Ontario. I've been living in London, Ontario since then. During the pandemic, apart from donating food and money, I decided to start making masks at home for my daughter-in-law and my daughter because they are frontline workers during the pandemic. At that time, we realized that there were a lot of things that money could not buy, and masks were one of them. So I decided to buy cloths, making homemade cloth masks for my daughter and my daughter-in-law, and sharing with other co-workers at hospitals and other healthcare units. We wanted to give them an extra layer of protection, especially when there was a huge shortage of PPEs at the start of the pandemic. So far, I have made 1,000 homemade cloth masks. 800 were donated to frontline workers, including nurses, NGOs, and other friends and family members. What really touched me is that my daughter-in-law gave the mask to some elders living in small towns like Strathroy. The elders were too scared back then when there were no masks that they couldn't go out, and they were really happy when they received the mask from me, and that really touched me. Being a newcomer, I recognized it is very challenging when we first settled in a foreign country. It is very important to hold your head up high and walk through the storm. Don't be afraid to seek help, and always remember, be grateful for what you have and for the people who have helped you. Today you may be the receiver. Tomorrow you could be the giver. Good luck, stay safe and well. Thank you.
My name is Gurmeet Kaur Melhotra, and I came to Canada in 2002. I've made London my home since 2006. I am a teacher by profession with the Thames Valley District School Board, and I teach in a high school. And this pandemic has taught us many things, how to realize yourself. So beside teaching, which is my full-time job, and I'm working as a volunteer with United Sikhs. It's an international humanitarian aid organization affiliated with United Nations. It's been more than, I would say, 20 countries, and there's many projects going on with legal aid, with anything people facing racisms, and giving food. There's many aspects of the organization. In Canada, our head office is in Brampton, and in London we have started 6 years ago we started cooking with Salvation Army. And when you go and cook there, and when you feed them, they were just people like us, dressed like us, You would not know that this person is homeless. You would not know that this person has some mental illness. So it just opened your eyes. Oh my God. And when we did like first feed the hungry, that was an eye-opener. And then the people got connected. You make some videos, you have some real life captions. I advertised myself through my contacts, through the temple, through different people. Like, you know, if you see anybody in need, whether it's a, you know, student, it's an international student, it's people on the street, wherever, tell them, yes, we are able to give it to them. We have given groceries to, I would say, about 110 people, 110 families, I would say. And it's, you know, it's all with the donations from the community. People have given us. Feeding any hungry stomach is the topmost priority, I would say. So it's a humble request from me. Anything you're passionate about, we have seen so many touching stories, like little gestures, little act of kindness. Get out of you know, your comfort zone, start to make a difference. You will see an impact on yourself as well. Like, you're not just making a change in somebody else's life, but it changes the value of your own existence in this world. I just wanted to say this. Thank you.
Je m'appelle Nitia Setrge Kabongo. Je suis originaire de la République démocratique du Congo. C'est depuis 2016 que je vis ici au Canada. Je suis très très heureux. Je me sens très bien de vivre ici à London. Donc, parce que je sens que les gens ont une certaine chaleur, quoi, spécialement dans la communauté dans laquelle je vis. Si je dois parler sur ma carrière, est-ce que ma carrière a apporté, donc sur ce que j'ai pu faire durant la période de pandémie, je peux dire que durant ma carrière, durant la pandémie, les gens ont une certaine peur et ils ont besoin d'informations qui puissent leur conforter. Voilà. Donc, en ce qui concerne la contribution à la communauté, surtout depuis le début de la pandémie, donc je pourrais dire que dans mon travail, je m'occupais des jeunes. Donc, attirer leur attention du danger de la pandémie, quoi. Parce qu'en fait, le pays faisait face à cette pandémie que nous connaissons ici. Bon, en termes d'activité, qu'est-ce que j'avais pu faire? Nous avions organisé des groupes d'information, donc des sessions d'information, disons, avec les jeunes gens, durant lesquelles on parlait de la pandémie, de ses conséquences et surtout des précautions qui avaient été établies par le gouvernement. Maintenant, avec les aînés, nous avions deux activités. Donc, la première, c'était, on avait créé un groupe, donc en ligne. Là, en fait, on échangeait. Et ce groupe-là, évidemment, le groupe où on parlait le français, ce groupe leur permettait en fait d'échanger avec les autres personnes du groupe, ce qu'ils ont pu faire durant les week-ends, quoi. Juste question de leur permettre de s'exprimer, et c'était bien. Ça, c'était la première activité. La deuxième activité, c'était la lecture. En fait, les aînés, chacun à son tour choisissait un texte qu'il trouvait intéressant, et c'était vraiment un plaisir pour moi. C'est vraiment un plaisir de servir, un plaisir d'aider. Je me sens vraiment encouragé, quoi. Je me sens fier de redonner quelque chose à ce beau pays qui m'a accueilli. C'est vraiment un plaisir pour moi de servir dans la communauté et aider les autres. Donc, En ce qui concerne l'expérience ici, ou l'initiative, disons, de LMLIP, je dirais que c'est vraiment une très très bonne initiative parce qu'en fait, des témoignages comme ça vont encourager d'autres personnes qui ont le potentiel d'aider de le faire. Et je remercie sincèrement LMLIP de pouvoir s'intéresser à ce que j'ai pu faire durant la période ici de pandémie. Merci beaucoup. My name is Nitia Setrge Kabongo. I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I've been living in London since 2016. I feel better to be here in London because people are warm, especially in my community. During the pandemic, people are afraid and have a great need of information that gives them some kind of comfort. Talking about my contribution to this community since the pandemic started, I can say that my work was mainly to keep in touch with young people and make them aware of the pandemic situation in which the country is. For young people, I organized group information session to inform them about the pandemic, its consequences, and I can say the precaution established by the government. Also, I teach them time management and organization skills. I provided help for schoolwork to young people for who e-learning was a new experience. So I also organize online group games to prevent, let's say, isolation. For seniors, I organized two kinds of activities. The first one was a weekly conversation cycle with online conversation, I can say that. And that conversation allowed them to share the weekend experience. And the second activity was just reading of proposed text. So they've been choosing the text that I want to read. I can say to those of newcomers willing to help people in the community, I can just tell them that there is a feeling of satisfaction in helping people. And I feel very empowered by giving back something to the country that welcomed me. And I'm so proud of that. I can say thank you to LMLIP for for being interested on my case. Thank you so much.
When I came, the ministries were already ongoing. They were very small, and because I'm the priest, I kind of inherited that, and I saw that that's a place I wanted to be. In our community, in Glencoe, very early in the process, we had a group of people from all the divisions in ministerial, municipality, social services, and a bunch of other people, business people, who got together and formed a committee and set up a helpline to see how we could help the people in the community. And then we made decisions about how we would be able to do that. So a lot of that would be providing a helpline where people could just talk if they needed to talk, and listen to their issues, because a lot of people, when they're in isolation, mental health issues arise. we have, over the last year, we served over 5,000 meals, full course meals. And at Christmas, I think it was either 137 or 173 meals that we gave out on Christmas Day, full Christmas dinners. And we also have established a little caring cupboard there. And each week we give the people that come to us for their meals, we'll offer them something that week. Sometimes it's personal care products. Another time it will be some food products, and laundry soap, anything like that. Toothpaste, toothbrushes, food, so I'm so grateful for the people that have helped me, like all the volunteers that I don't work in isolation. A lot of the people that were here were volunteering before I came, and they taught me what they do and how they've learned how to do it, and they've taught me where the needs are, and they've befriended me as well, because when you're new in the community, you need to become a part of the community, and you can, especially as a priest. What would I say to everybody? I guess I would say I've been thinking about this a lot, because I have one gentleman that never realized that he was worth anything. And so I would say to everybody that every one of you has worth and value. And you may not know that or see that about yourself, but you do have it, and you are worthwhile. You're worth being helped, and you're worth offering help as well, because it goes both ways. So that's probably from the heart what I would say.
My name is Yodit Kidane. I am from Eritrea. I have lived in London for almost 3 years. It's going to be 3 years in May. I really feel good about living in London, although some of my relatives, they offered me the idea of moving to other cities in Canada, but I stayed in London. I chose to live in London. As a PSW, it's difficult to separate my professional life from my personal one, but I have to do it for my well-being. I get my support from my auntie, who is on the same profession, and a friend who used to serve in taking care of elderly people when I needed it. Because it's for people who are not on that profession, it's kind of depressing to talk to them about things that happen at work to them. I decided to do what I did for the residents because I like to treat others the way I like to be treated. And if my parents are on the same position, I will treat them the same way. Some of the needs I have seen include some families need to call their beloved ones more regularly for the time being. That's all they can do. The reaction of the residents to my extra care is after I do the care, I like to see the smile on their face, and some of them, when they hold my hand and keep it to themselves in the action of saying thank you, I feel so content with what I am doing. After 1 year of the pandemic, the residents are still the highly affected part of the population. It has affected them more than I can say. I couldn't put it in words. For others who are keen to contribute to the community, do what you would love to do, and the community will appreciate it. For the community, I would like to say show more love and more concern to the elderly, and try to contact them regularly. If you have beloved ones over there in nursing homes or far away from you, try to contact them regularly. I know it's hard with the busy life and families and everything, but try as much as you can. It helps a lot on their emotional well-being. Like